We're live. Welcome to What the Friday, where
The
Friday, where we have all kinds of conversations, fun conversations before we go online, and then what are we going to talk about when we get online?
That's right. If you feel bored by our content, just know that we're wildly interesting elsewhere.
That's right.
That's the truth of it. That's what we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
I have a mic today. Fun news.
I like that. I can hear you better. Look at that.
Yeah, I can hear
You
me
actually had that mic for a while.
too well. Yeah, but I've never used it on
Just
here.
don't ever use it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
dumb.
I like it.
Thank you.
So, welcome everybody. Great to be here. We missed last week because we were out touring the
We did.
countryside.
We're sure you didn't notice.
Yep. Well, a couple of people did. I actually got a couple of messages. Aren't you doing What the Friday today? So.
Oh, wow. I did not.
Wow.
Nice. We went to Nashville to celebrate my brother's 30th birthday. Dad's son, supposedly. You look identical. So
I'm not sure how to.
It doesn't really work.
I'm not sure how to respond to that, but I wouldn't say that. He's not going to like that very much. It's like, oh God, I'm going to look like my dad.
Alex, you don't.
He's a much better. He's a better looking version of me.
To be fair, Alex will never see this video. So,
probably
moving on. Good care.
So disinterested in our life.
No less, yeah. All right. So first, we're very excited. I'm so excited about this episode today because first we got absorption numbers, which are always interesting because it's such a real.
It's the only thing I can talk about.
No, it's because it's such a real look at what the market's actually doing. It's not hypothesizing. It's not bull. Oh, we're trying not to curse so that we get.
I think we got bumped out of something because we might have used a minor vulgarity somewhere in the stream, so we're trying not to do that.
My poor grandmother is probably really upset with me because it's now so ingrained in my working vernacular that I'm always swearing. But sorry, Iowa. Okay, so it's not fluff, it's real stuff. So we're really excited about that. But also I did a dive into iBuying. I'm only going to do a high level overview of it, but I'm
really interested in that.
Fascinating. Yeah, I know. I started telling you about it and I was like, hold on, ask me these questions later.
Yeah.
So, okay, absorption numbers. Let's do it.
Okay. Absorption numbers. I thought things were trending a little lower. You can see this kind of section right here. This is the suburbs. The top line are the suburbs absorption rates. But of course, this is last week when we were gone. This is the last week we were here. And then this is right now. So obviously there is a push in the suburbs to get more deals done in the last 2 weeks, which is really fascinating. I did not expect that. And you can look down below. Everybody else is like a little horse race. Generally, though, the average is a little bit better. Yeah. So I think we talked about that before. The wave kind of crashing out into the suburbs now, and I've seen a number of articles just recently about people just deciding they're not going to do that. They're not going to pay 20, 30, 40, 50% over ask anymore. Yeah, they're starting to move back toward the city. And now that we're having more conversation about.
I should turn my ringer off too. Yeah, good.
Now that we're having more conversations about people moving back, it seems to be happening a little bit. So we'll see. I think if we trended these a little bit longer, I think we'd be seeing an upward curve. You can kind of see the average trend in this lower section right here, kind of slowly moving back up. And I think that's that wave starting to move back. And what are they talking? Vaccines, 8 weeks, 12 weeks out, maybe. That's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, it will if it's effective. It will.
Yeah.
Okay, absorption numbers done.
That's it.
Somebody's cooking food in your kitchen. Okay, now iBuying. So, what is iBuying? Have you even heard of it? Right. Companies like Opendoor, OfferPad, and Zillow are using algorithms to buy up primarily single-family homes. Actually, I think it's exclusively single-family homes at this point. I didn't see anything about any other kind of.
So when you say that, you're saying that they're analyzing the market. Yes. They're using like that Zestimate system to estimate what a house is worth. They're making an offer probably a little bit below that. to try to get deals done, and then they're basically buying and reselling, right?
Yeah, I don't know if the average is actually below what the Zestimate is, because I think their idea is that if you can institutionalize the U.S. single family home business, and I guess it would, if you can institutionalize that, then you can play a numbers game. And if you buy enough of them at a reasonable price, like maybe they're generally just going, what's this estimate? Knock off 5%, then reach out to these people and buy it from them. Maybe that's their thinking. I'm not sure, but the goal is institutionalizing it to get rid of all of the inefficiencies in the market, because they're very correct in recognizing that it's one of the world's largest and most fragmented marketplaces. I mean, a lot of people just own one home. They're not investors who own every home and then are renting them out. It's a lot of people are actually owners in this market. So it's kind of a mixed bag, morally or ethically. Like, I don't know where I stand on if it helps our American economy or not, because being a homeowner increases your equity so much. But it's also not my place, I guess, to make that decision. So
interesting. Well, I could see that working better with in a vertical market. You know, condos are a lot easier to do comparables on and are less different than single family homes, but you could have two seemingly identical single family homes, one that has a terrible sewer system, one that has a good sewer system, one that has great moldings, one that has no moldings, one that has old appliances, one that has new appliances, one that has 9-foot ceilings, one that has 8-foot ceilings. All those little nuances that make a difference. Or how do you justify if there's a, if it's a slightly wet, some neighborhoods have that low yard that's always soaking wet and smells funny. How do you, I get where they're going, and it kind of makes sense on a big scale, but as an individual buyer or seller, it's that just seems awkward to me.
Right. On a big scale is where it's the law of averages. I mean, I think the reason that there's excitement from Zillow and from OfferPad and others like it, I think it's the thought that everything is so individual that if you bought enough, then the big wins would be worth the small losses, because in general, hopefully you're not losing that much. I think that's the thought.
True. And the longer they do it, the more specific that data will get, and they'll recognize.
Right.
All they have to do is have a problem with a house once, and then in the future they know that's history now that they have on that house.
Yeah, you add it to the algorithm, I guess. But it's kind of, I think it's kind of like there are the most successful art collectors in history who sold before they knew that these famous artists were going to be huge famous artists. They bought these great paintings and then they sold them for hundreds of millions later, and they were considered a discount because they were selling them to, I can't remember who it was, this collector that I'm referencing, but he had Picassos and Rembrandts, like all of this art that you wouldn't have known was going to be really valuable. And he sold it to the government, and he sold it to the government at a steep discount, but he still made hundreds of millions of dollars. And so people started studying him and being like, how did you know? How did you know that these were going to be famous? And the answer for him and basically every other successful art collector was, I didn't. They didn't. They just bought a lot. They bought a lot. And then the ones that did appreciate in value appreciated so much that it was a no-brainer to spend to waste all that money on the ones that didn't appreciate. So I'm wondering if that's kind of the thought behind iBuying. If you buy enough, maybe.
I haven't done a deal on either side of an iBuy, and I don't even know if there would be a broker involved in that. But
there is a broker involved. The process, that's actually part of the fear around Zillow hiring their own agents. because they do have to use agents. I mean, when iBuyers buying mostly off the MLS. It's not an off-market price where they're going out and asking these owners. They're buying off the MLS, as in an agent has listed this property.
That's how they have the information, because it's out there.
Right. So a seller is wanting to sell, and it's online on the MLS somewhere, and an iBuyer buys it just like any other buyer, but it's a corporation instead, and they use an agent to do that. The problem, the unique position that Zillow is in, and that Realtor.com is in, because they have, or no, Redfin. Does Realtor.com hire the Redfin agents? Like, are they part of that? I can't remember.
I don't think so. Redfin's its own standalone.
Okay, well then I think Redfin just, Realtor.com just got into it, and I conflated two things. But Zillow has their own agents. Zillow is now hiring their own salary.
They're now a brokerage.
Right.
Which is changing their business model, because now they can't claim ignorance on listing data that they have posted online as a broker.
True. And they are doing this in accordance with, or in tandem with also being upping their iBuying. So the thought is, is their strategy hire salaried brokers so that you can become an iBuyer? And ideally, iBuying from their perspective gets so huge that they can use their salaried employees, which is way cheaper than a hired one, to buy and sell the properties that they're eating up. And in a iBuying dominated world, it would be Zillow using their salaried employee to buy from OfferMap or OfferPad, who'd buy from, so it would just be a bunch of corporations buying from each other, which is a little dystopian and scary if you think about it dominating, but it's not that big yet. It's 8.1 billion. They spent 8.1 billion last year, which is, I think, like not even a percent. Yeah, 0.5% of the U.S. housing market. But it doubled from the year before. So, I mean,
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it's an unknown.
To see how that goes.
Fascinating. Yeah, I agree.
I still don't. There's always maybe I'm just old, but it does seem like there's always a push in the real estate industry to find some magic system that can automate purchases and sales and try to save, which I get. You want to try to save the seller commission dollars and real estate attorney fee, all the fees that go along. It's not cheap to do real estate transactions. And I get that. And I get that there's a natural push, but being a real estate agent now and recognizing the myriad of stuff that we're always having to juggle and the personalities that influence that, still makes it hard for me to imagine how you commoditize homes to the point that it's like buying a car. Cars are not that complicated.
No.
They can have problems, but it's limited exposure and they're component driven. So the risk is much lower, and there are a lot more cars on the road than there are houses in the country.
The nuances that you were mentioning earlier about what if you have to find out the price of a home and the ceiling heights are different than the neighbor that looks like the best comp, like all those nuances, that's one thing. But every municipality is so different as far as getting your CO and getting the smoke certificate and getting through the building department. And what's the process with this municipality in particular? So, I mean, the government would have to be way more technologically advanced and streamlined to do things in order for iBuying to work, because because iBuying has to rely on that.
They can still have those. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. It'll be interesting. Fun to watch.
Yeah, fun to. We've got no control over it, so it's just we just have to kind of look at it like a fun game and produce great content. So if our jobs get put out of business, we can be fine.
I think I'm going to be more okay with that than you are.
What do you mean?
If we got put out of a job as realtors.
Yeah, I think that's true. I really love doing this so much. I love doing it a lot.
I like doing it. I might like a beach just as well, or a boat.
A boat on a Nordhaven. Oh, I know your
That's
vision.
right. That's
I
right.
come over and the evenings, and his TV is just somebody on a boat, and it's the vantage point of the boat, and nothing is happening. Just being on the boat.
It's typically they're like the tour of the boat, or they're either doing an ocean passage or something like that, or doing the boat tour. And here's the engine room, which of course I'm like, oh, that's cool.
You love a mechanicals.
I love mechanicals, even in houses. Nothing makes me happier than to see a really well plumbed house with great zoned heating and cooling and hot water. It's just, yeah, I like that stuff. I like real estate though. I like sleuthing out the cracks in a house.
Oh, I love that. We should be a private detective team. What are we doing in real estate? Yeah. That'd be so fun.
Where'd that come from?
Risk and adventure. You said sleuth.
You used the wrong term.
You did? No, I think that works. You're sleuthing out.
I think it works. I just
Oh, you got me too excited.
And yes, and there goes Morgan.
There goes
squirrel. Okay. Sonia, what else is going on?
No, what's going on with you? You had thoughts. You had thoughts you wanted to share about us and our team.
Yeah, I did. Thanks for reminding me.
Short memory.
We are growing our team. So we have our first new addition, and a guy named Marco Gabo, who is going to be joining us in New York. We have a listing in Astoria with him. And we have a couple more. One out in the Summit area, out in the suburbs, where things are hot right now. And then maybe another one here in Hoboken. So we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited about growing the team, but it's fun because as a partnership,
yes,
we are definitely different personalities. So we have different strengths. Yeah,
we're identical.
So we're identical. Yeah, so not true.
We are very similar. I will say when we got into this, we were both like, I don't know, we might be too similar. And now we're like, no. We're not.
You should be more like me. If you were more like me, everything would be fine.
You're right. Everyone should be more like you. We should just be living in a Bill Birch world.
For me, it'd be a little bit like Groundhog Day. Same thing every day. No worries.
Yeah, that would suck.
It would.
He also the same thing every day, and he killed himself every day too. So that's saying something.
Moving along. So how do you think things are going? What do you?
Maybe that gets us demonetized too, making suicide jokes.
Maybe I'm not making them.
Stop. I always am. I really gotta stop.
Look at that smile of hers, and you think, oh yeah, she can't be the one that does it. Oh yeah, vulgar language. That could probably be Morgan.
What? I'm a Disney princess. I'm excited. Speaking of, I'm excited about my earrings today. Can you tell?
Oh, nice. Halloween-y.
De los muertos. I probably didn't say that right. I'm learning Spanish, but I'm really excited. It's Halloween, and you get to wear skulls and stuff. And also, you got to look at my cuticles. You're welcome. So yeah, we're excited. We're growing the team. We're working together. We went to Nashville last weekend to see my brother for his birthday. And I know
ate a lot of great food.
We ate a lot of really good food because that's what he does for a living. He's a wine guy. Sommelier.
So how do you think things are going? Back to team building and our team.
I think it's going great. And
what's the biggest challenge to deal with?
But I think the last 2 weeks, not so much. I think we're getting better. I think we go through phases where we're very in sync and we're both excited and we're both happy and we're both hopeful and we have the same vision. And then we go through phases where you've got a vision that I do not have or I'm not focused on and we're not as in sync as far as us. I think individually our client base is great and working with our clients is great. But I think what lacks the most often is us being in sync sometimes.
Is that important?
Yeah, it's important. We're a partnership. Shake and bake, baby.
I think that's the, we've had a couple of people mention that, what's the story on how do you get along? How do you start growing the business together? Your father-daughter team, you've got dynamics, family dynamics that you try to keep separate from your business dynamics. And we definitely have, I tend to be more of the blank page person. So
which is phenomenal because I feel like 0.1% of people are a blank page person.
And then Morgan is really good at, I think we need to up our game here and we need to up our game there. And we both do that a little bit, but she's a little bit more sensory driven, and she's definitely the client facing, much better at client facing activities than I am.
I'm just obsessed with human beings. So I love clients.
Right. So, and I usually think of things like a chain and which link's weakest and which one's going to break first. How do we beef up that link so that, because the client in the end is the load that we carry, we want them to be happy. And there are a lot of links in that chain. And if one of them breaks, then their hopes and desires and their financial well-being can all fall.
Right.
I don't think most real estate agents think about it that way. I just think they think about trying to get to a close and get paid. But there really is a long chain of things that have to happen to make sure that your client's happy.
I mean, that's very true. You use that analogy a lot, and it's very accurate. It puts so much pressure on each link to me that I try not to think about it too much, because then perfectionism will get in my way. But I also, and okay, yes to all of that. And the way that you were describing working together, I think our differences can accidentally sometimes make us competitive instead of collaborative.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm having this idea, I'm seeing this vision. Why aren't you? Or I'm working on this. I'm doing this really well. Like proving that it becomes a competition subconsciously without meaning to every once in a while. And then when we are doing really well is when we recognize that and go, oh no, that's so silly. We're on a team. We're collaborative. Like fantastic that you see this thing I don't. Help me see it. Fantastic that you do this thing I don't. Let's do this together. Like it's that.
Knock yourself out.
Knock yourself out. Yeah.
We had that conversation this morning. I'm like, I don't exactly get what's going on here, but great.
That's
Make
true.
it happen. I don't have to know.
I don't have to know and understand everything because we're a partnership. So I feel like when you're in a leadership position, you feel like you need to understand everything that's going on, but it will slow it down. But since we're partners, it's like, I trust you. So if you understand what's going on, you just do it and I'll follow. That was kind of how we were when we first hired an assistant. I was like, I don't think we should do this. It costs too much money. Why would we do this? And then I just followed your lead. And now our assistant is amazing, amazing. And
she's awesome.
I mean, mind blowing. And I was like, I'm really glad that you just did it. And I never told you not to do it, but
but you were pretty blunt, which I like. Is a good thing about our dynamic. Like, I don't get why we're spending money on this. Where's this going?
Yeah, not dismissive, but yeah.
Yeah, it was just, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. But you were also very good about, I trust you. If you think this is a good idea, I said, I do.
Yes, but also don't expect me to be enthusiastic about it yet because I can't get my head around it, and I don't like to pretend. Right. Although during these videos, sometimes I do like a maniac smile when I'm trying to have fun, I guess. I don't know. So yes, that's my assessment of us. I think we're really, really good when we're in a collaborative, creative, yes, and mindset. And we're really bad when we're in a competitive, proving to each other something, or, letting our egos get in the way. Like, I need to understand everything, or I want you to see that I'm smart and great, or whatever the thing is.
Yeah. Or I'm working really hard and you're not noticing that at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that when you feel with me?
No, not necessarily. I think it's when we get off on our own. We're hustling, but we're not communicating with the other one.
Yeah.
So it's just, and we don't see each other all the time. There's sometimes we'll go for a few days and not actually see each other.
Yes.
And you're busy doing stuff, or I'm busy doing stuff, and it's easy to assume that the other person, since you're not seeing them do anything, they're not doing anything, when really they are. And there may be a pile of stuff that I'm not paying attention to, or you're not paying attention to,
Always.
that's kind of waiting for our mutual attention, that we're each thinking, well, he's not paying attention or she's not paying attention.
Yeah. And how does that even help? I mean, even if somebody
doesn't.
was slacking off, that doesn't help the team. And if we're committed to being together, then if something like that does happen, it seems
Don't you think that's an easy trap to get in, that martyred?
So easy.
I'm the only one that's working. The rest of the world's got it easy. I'm the only one suffering here.
It's so crazy how I feel like every human, their knee-jerk reaction is to feel like the victim, because it because it feels weirdly, it's disempowering, but it feels in the short term empowering. It's like, well, it's not my fault.
Well, and people tend to be compassionate toward that, or some people, especially if it's if it's somebody that they're I don't want to get this into a political thing, but frankly, Donald Trump he plays the victim card a lot. You're unfair. This is unfair. You are very unkind. You've not treated me the way I should have been treated. And there is a group of people that are like, yeah, that's right. You weren't treated fairly. You weren't.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's a group, of course, that don't feel that way. We'll find out in what, like 12 days. How many people feel But that's the way it works, and there are a lot of people that way. I think you and I are trying to drive our team toward
taking responsibility.
Yeah, being personally responsible. And even if you don't, like, if I think you're not doing anything and I don't say anything about it, I should be responsible for the fact that I thought I saw a problem and I didn't say anything, or or vice versa. When you're saying, we had a conversation this morning, Morgan was talking about, hey, I think we could really up the ante in this. This is not professional enough. We need to, we've done a good job so far, but I feel like we've kind of plateaued and this is not continuing to get better.
Right, we gotta
and I said, I don't see it. I'm not seeing it as clearly as you do. You just need to go.
You can think you know what you want.
But yeah, but I don't know how that got into that from being victims, but you just need to be honest and
taking responsibility. If you see something lacking, it's not going, oh no, this sucks. Oh, you suck. It's okay. I see that this could be better.
Here's where we're at. Where do we want to go? And I think that's, I've used the analogy of looking at a mountain from two different points. You're standing at this point to the mountain. I'm standing at this point to the mountain. Our views are slightly different.
Yeah.
But we're both focused on the top of the mountain. And as we continue on that journey, we get closer together and we get further up the mountain. And the more we continue that journey, the better. And we saw when we were with Elliman. Elliman's, I really love that speaker that
I know. Is that right?
I can't remember. She climbed Mount Everest, but it was interesting to learn that climbing Mount Everest is a multiple trip journey. Bless you. I couldn't hear you. I think you're muted. There you go.
Good. You didn't hear me.
No, we just watched. So, but her point on the mountain is that you have to acclimate. So they go up so far, and then they come back down to a base camp, and they go up a little further, and then they come back down to the base camp, and then they go up so much further, and they come back down.
It was like all the way, and then go all the way back, and then all the way, and then 25% back, and then all the way, and then that's your new base camp. It was like that.
Yeah, it was amazing to learn that mountain climbing. I always thought it was you climb up so far and you kind of camp out and wait a little bit, and then you go up so far and you camp out and wait a little, then you make this run. She's like, oh no, you go up and come back a ways, and you go up and then come back a ways, and so you ratchet your way up the hill or up the mountain until you get there. And even then, most people can't do it, but still, I think that's business. I think for all of us, we all should have our eyes on the goal, especially if we're in partnerships or if we have teams. I'm hoping that our team is growing, that we do that. Where are we all at? We're all trying to climb the same mountain. And when you're talking about a style guide for our marketing, that's I see the next spot we need to go to. Let's all put our eyes in that spot and let's climb the mountain to that place together. So I think that's the goal. We're just not really good at it sometimes. It's so easy to get in your own little world and get down. And plus,
yeah, I think
so much not to like about watching anything on TV or reading anything in the news right now.
Yeah, I was going to say pursuit of excellence can have the trap of staring at the distance between where you are and where you want to be. And instead of being excited about that journey, like I just love how hard this is to climb, then it's
yeah, and there's
overwhelming.
Think about it. There's people that actually climb Everest for the sake of climbing it, which is, I mean, they just want to live. That's their living. They know it's hard and they love the challenge. And they're like, even the really sucky part, they can say, this really sucks, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. I'm just like when you get on the Peloton, and I still struggle with that. It's like, why am I doing this to myself? This is terrible. But you get on there and you feel great. You're like, oh, that was a really hard workout. That's awesome.
It was hard. Yeah, I like it.
Honestly. Yeah. So anyway, I guess I've talked too long. So
no, I just noticed that we crossed our boundary by a few minutes now.
That's okay. Everybody can shut us off. So
yes, you can. You can shut us off.
We try to package our personal stuff more toward the end of it, and it's hard to know how to mix those up. So feedback's always welcome.
Feedback is always welcome. Let us know your thoughts on anything we spoke about today. Like, follow, subscribe, friend.
Yeah, if you will, please do like us. Click the like button, even if you see us in a couple different places. Subscribe and hit the notification button, and that helps us a lot. It's really great to see a lot of our content increasing in views all the time, and we'd really love to get the content that everybody wants to see. So just let us know.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you. Shake and bake.
Shake and bake. Call it a wrap. Call it Friday. Get back to work.
Right back at you.
All right.